You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you are. No more hiding tears, no more covering scars. You are welcome, holy welcome. You are welcome here, just the way you want to be. Bring your deepest hopes and all your wildest dreams. You are welcome, holy welcome.
There's something in the air, the dream of life in love, with minds that rest in prayer, sparking joy we're in awe. No matter where your path has been or time will somehow flies, like souls will come home again, true friendship ever thrives. Is this where the magic happens? Can you feel the hearts revealed right now in you and me? The secret is wherever we are. There's something in a smile that can turn a day around. Moments so worthwhile when we find common ground. No matter what the day might bring, right here we can align, knowing that we will be seen as perfect, whole, divine. 'Cause this is where the magic happens. Let's feel all the hearts, from close to me and me to you. The secret is wherever we are. So meet me where the magic happens, healing all the hearts, ignited now in you and me. forever. The secret is whenever. The secret is together we are.
Good morning and welcome to Center for Spiritual Living St. George, our Sunday service. We're so happy that you chose to spend some of your Sunday with us. Welcome. So we are an open, loving, and inclusive community that supports thinking creatively and living a deeply spiritual life. Our purpose is to love, teach, guide, and support a spiritual community in creating and living a life they love using science of mind principles and spirit and practices. Our vision, CSL, is a community-focused center, actively living, sharing, and nurturing its members and friends so that all may have and live their best life. So our service team today, my name is Gwen Hadley. I'll be hosting. Behind the scenes, we have Bill Smith making this all happen beautifully so that you can see and hear us, which sometimes can be a challenge. Alan Stanley is in the house doing our music, singer, songwriter. We love Alan. Thank you. Star Starrett, our practitioner, will be doing the invocation. Our reading today is a special treat, Tony Kovach. And of course, we have our senior minister, Reverend Joe. So there's the team. Now it's my pleasure to introduce, once again, Alan Stanley. Good morning, Alan.
Good morning, Gwen. Hello, everybody. So we're going to slow it down a little bit. Wait, we haven't started fast. But anyway, we at this point is where we relax and ponder, and the star is going to come in the middle and offer our invocation. So just relax and sing along. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for I walk in God. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy. Everywhere I am is holy ground, and I live in love. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy.
Thank you. I love setting the pace of gentle, easy, and being at peace. And so knowing that and knowing that there's only one mind, I know that that mind is peaceful now. It's peaceful in and out and through and around every form of life here on this planet. And right here, right now, that peace is residing like a calm in the middle of a storm, right in the center of where I am at. And because I know this for myself, I know it's available to each and every one of us here. And so with that, I bless this day, this peace and this stillness that comes from within and is
circulating outward from us changes our world, changes the world, changes everything that's going on from that center, peaceful place. And I know that that is more important than anything that I have ever searched for. And because of that, I know that it is there. It is already done. It has always been there, and it will always be there. And so knowing that, I release that into the world, into the day, into this moment, this peace, this unending joy, always present, helping with every experience I may have. And so I release it into the law, knowing that I am willing and I am there, and it is good and very good. As together we say, and so it is.
So it is. So it is. Thank you, Star. Everywhere I am is holy ground, and I stand in peace. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy. Everywhere I am is holy ground, and I dance in joy. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy, gentle. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for I walk in God. Everywhere I am is holy ground, for the power and the presence of pure spirit makes my path gentle and easy. Gentle, easy, gentle, easy. And now we'd like to bring Tony in and offer our reading for us today.
Hello.
Hello, Tony.
Hi, everyone. I'm Tony Kovach, and today I am reading from Louise Hay, You Can Heal Your Life. This is a kind of artful, colorful edition. It's a really fun way to read this book. And I'm reading from page 60, where she talks about making a decision to be willing to change. And it says, if you really want to know how stubborn you are, just approach the idea of being willing to change. We all want to have our lives change, to have situations become better and easier, but we don't want to have to change. We would prefer that they change. In order to have this happen, we must change inside. We must change our way of thinking, change our way of speaking, change our way of expressing ourselves. Only then will the outer changes occur. This is the next step. We are now fairly clear on what the problems are and where they come from. Now is the time to be willing to change. I have always had a streak of stubbornness within me. Even now, sometimes when I decide to make a change in my life, the stubbornness can come to the surface, and my resistance to change my thinking is strong. I can temporarily see self-righteousness, angry, and withdraw. Yes, this still goes on within me after all of these years of work. It's one of my lessons. However, when this happens now, I am hitting an important point of change. Every time I decide to make a change in my life, to release something, I'm going deeper into myself to do this. Each old layer must give way in order to be replaced with new thinking. Some of it is easy, and some of it is like trying to lift a boulder with a feather. The more tenacious I hold on to an old belief when I say I want to make a change, the more I know it is important. It is an important one for me to release. It is only by learning these things that I can teach others. It is, in my opinion, that many really good teachers do not come from joyful households where all was easy. They come from a place of much pain and suffering, and they've worked through the layers to reach the place where they can now help others to become free. Most good teachers are continually working to release even more, to remove ever deeper layers of limitation. This becomes a lifetime occupation. The main difference between the way I used to work at releasing beliefs and the way I do it today is now I don't have to be angry at myself in order to do so. I no longer choose to believe that I am a bad person just because I have something else to change within me. And this says a lot. It's really hard for me to add to that because I think she says it so well. But I just love the words. She adds later on just the affirmation, I am willing to change. And I think just saying that helps to release a lot of that fear, maybe anger, resentment that we may feel when we're at that point of change. So even just recognizing I'm not a bad person, I know I have areas I want to work on and I want to change, and it's okay. I am willing to change. That's it.
That's great. I'm willing to change too. So, well, let's sing about that then. Y'all sing along. Change is inevitable. I got that word out. So, what do you say we just embrace it? There's a path that we know many people take, seeking truth and some things unexplained. Setting out on a road that is mostly unknown, sometimes can cause trouble and pain. We set out instead, not knowing what's ahead, and wondering what lies around the bend. In faith we know that wherever we go, life's eternal and this road has no end. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our names. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Now we come together and move along, creating heaven right here at home. We honor the old ways and bless the new. Open our hearts and welcome you. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our names. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Deep inside we all know if we only let go and let God lead, there's nothing to fear. The slower we go, the sooner we'll know, and everything will become clear. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our names. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Only one thing remains the same. That's Holy Spirit calling our names. Honor the mystery, embrace the change. Honor the mystery, embrace the change.
I'm singing my heart out, Alan.
Hey, Gwen, I can hear you across town.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, so it's my pleasure to introduce Reverend Joe. He's going to come on in, and I think we're still talking about discomfort. Oh, discomfort is the least of our concerns, however, is the name of this talk. So good morning, Reverend Joe. He's coming. I know he's coming.
I'm small, but I'm here. There we go. How are you, Gwen?
Excellent. And you, sir?
I am well, thank you. I appreciate the introduction. And thank you, Alan, for a wonderful song. And the reading was spot on and anchored in already by Star. Anchored in and recognizing that perfect presence that is right now. So good morning, St. George, and our online community, wherever you are watching this. Thank you. Thank you. This is all about you. I appreciate, first off, Reverend Raymond Anderson, Reverend Dr. Raymond Anderson, for filling in for me last week, being a guest speaker. He's not filling in for me. He holds his own. If you saw that talk last week, it was phenomenal. I just love listening to him. Grounds me, helps me realize some work that I still need to do. And if you didn't catch it, please go back on YouTube or Facebook and watch it. Lots and lots of good points that he makes, and some of them even made me uncomfortable. So there you go. That just means there's growth, and we're going to continue to talk about discomfort this month, or this week, excuse me. We've been talking about it all month, and the idea, in essence and simplicity, is to learn to not only recognize the discomfort, because that's step one, right? We have to become aware of something before we can change it. Own it, and then embrace it. And that obviously can be the difficult part. We're working on shifting our thoughts about discomfort so that we can realize as we move through it, this new potential that we wanted to have all along is going to show up. That's what we're working through and to. So to step outside and through the discomfort, we got to embrace it. And in essence, realize our own magnificence. That's what we do. I'm not saying it's easy. So let's anchor in a quote by Mark Burnett, who says, "I will guarantee you that the day you step outside your comfort zone by making success your goal is the day you discover that adversity, risk, and daring will make life sweeter than you've ever imagined." How about that? So, why is my document flipping all over? There we go. So it's a matter of, sometimes we just have to change, and sometimes we just have to go out and do it. Take that first step. That's what we're talking about. Discomfort, is an inherent part of the human experience overall. I mean, that's kind of what we do. That's who we are. And so it's a matter of whether we want to spend our lives in discomfort, trying to hide from the discomfort, to deny the discomfort at all costs. And so many people, most are doing that. We live protecting our little comfort zone, even though we're uncomfortable. And this only causes, really, in essence, the depths of our pain and fear to deepen. And therefore, it then feels like it's harder to get out of or get through. So rather than avoid the discomfort, we're encouraged to develop effective coping strategies and embrace a new, I'm going to use the word catalyst for change, that's going to help us. So we're going to talk a little bit about this. Like, how do we do this? All right, I got discomfort. All right, that's the least of my problems. What next? How do I do this? Spiritually, okay, but we know that everything is spiritual. This is life. Every part of life that we're going through is anchored in spirit, and anchored in change. And yet we seem to act as if that's not going to happen, and we fight to stay the same, again, even though it's uncomfortable. Ernest Holmes, in his book 365 Days of Richer Living, says change is the law of human experience, for only God, spirit, is permanent. The infinite mind is forever conceiving new ideas, and the infinite law is forever producing new forms. So therefore, the instant I think a new thought, a new form begins to appear. Now, if we're looking at that from I'm listening to Dr. Ray, not saying negative, but a non-life affirming way of looking at this is, oh my God, life is forever changing. How am I ever going to keep up? And therefore, I'm a victim to it. That's outside of me. I don't have any control over the situation. Or I can look at it in a life affirming way, and in the sense of that it's happening for me, and that this change allows me to continue to fine tune the life experience that I want to have. Now that's pretty amazing. If we look at it from that way, if I said, oh, we're going to play a game and you're going to continuously be able to work your way to the point of enjoying the game more and more and more and more without ever having an ending. And there's no limit. It's infinite, the abilities that you can create within this world. And it's amazing because there's so many. I'm a gamer, particularly on PC, and there, some of the ones I love the best are what we call role-playing games, and meaning you get this character, you create it, and you do what you want. And now the essence is, well, I can never really get hurt or whatever, to make excuses. But no. That infinite part of us is untouchable. And this is an experience we're having. This is not the all of who we are in existence. And so we're getting to know ourselves. We're getting to know that which we call God. Now, God is changeless, but yet forever recreating itself of how we can experience it. Right. So going back to the last time we met in person, I shared the quote that it's not the problem that's the problem. It's the thinking of the problem that is. So I'm curious, have you been working on that, right? Have you been working at, we're all practitioners of religious science. Some of us are licensed, some of us aren't. So we're all practicing this, and we're not going to change if we don't try something new. So have you at least contemplated maybe what are your issues, right? What are some of the things that I would want to change? It's okay to talk about this. That doesn't mean we're creating them or deepening them. They're already here in essence. So as we realize and take responsibility for them, then we can recognize also let's use the word negative, the thoughts that are not aligned with life-affirming thoughts, right? So are they thoughts that are empowering us or feeling more like they're disempowering us? Discomfort in essence is the feeling once we acknowledge an uncertainty or a situation that we want to change for and generally don't feel we can for some reason. So in plain science of mind language, we in essence are giving power to an unknown outcome in a negative, non-life affirming way. So I want this, but this may happen. Let me think of all the ways it can go wrong. Now, if I'm doing this to be proactive and avoid this, be careful. Okay, I'm going to practice. Okay, that's one thing. But if I'm using that and that's all I focus on, then I'm giving my power, my God power, and creating more of what I don't want. Ernest Holmes would call this the negative use of faith, right? So that's his term, not mine. So non-life affirming use of faith. And again, we're putting our energy, our beliefs into an unknown and believing it's going to come out in a way that negatively affects us. Right? So therefore, going back to the first thing, one of the things I said first week was, we're not trusting God. And if we're not trusting God, that means we don't see ourselves as that infinite potential. We don't see ourselves as that infinite joy. We're not embracing it in any way, shape, or form. So Eckhart Tolle has a quote where he says, and I shared this quote because I believe that by staying in discomfort, we're creating our own suffering. And what he says is the acceptance of suffering is a journey into death. Facing deep pain, allowing it to be, taking your attention into it, is to enter death consciously. When you have died this death, you realize that there is no death and there is nothing to fear. So now I've read this a bunch of times preparing for this talk, and it seems like every time I read it, I get something new. So in the moment, what I'm feeling he's saying is as we go into the discomfort, the suffering, and we just take a look at it, we like, what is this really? We're willing to, in essence, die to the part of the ego that is feeding that fear. And when we realize that, oh, I can overcome this, I can change this, then what is there to fear? If I could do this here, I could do this anywhere. That's what I got of it this time. So, as always, these are my thoughts, feelings, and beliefs into the subject. If they feel life-affirming to you, then embrace them. And if not, let them go. That's okay. I'm not going to pretend I'm a master on this subject because, again, change is here. So being aware that there will always be change, always be an unknown, my thought was that maybe we can learn to prepare for it better. And recognizing the unknown as an unknown good revealing itself is one of the first things that I choose to look at. So when there's something happening, I look at it as, okay, feel the discomfort. And what I know is if there's one thing, there must be an opposite to it. What is it? So this is happening. I don't like this. I don't like the way this feels. I don't like the experience. Now stop, pause. What is it that I would rather experience? Right? What good could be, what good could be revealing itself from this situation? Okay. So, excuse me. Pico Iyer says, not knowing is a permanent condition and it's a condition to embrace. Life doesn't offer answers, and our lives are defined by how readily we embrace the state of answerlessness. Our lives will be made by what we do with the myriad things we can't understand. Now, again, I've read this a bunch of times. What I'm feeling in this moment is we're always going to have an unknown. In essence, I can hold my faith to know something is true. But in other words, let's talk about death, right? I do believe there's life after death. I do believe that there's no true death, that our spirit is infinite, that this is a point of consciousness and in the physical body. And when the physical body decides to retire itself, I still move on intact. Saying that, there's still answer. How do I know that? Well, it's what I choose to believe. Do I have facts? Well, I've listened to other people. Do I have facts? I'd have to say no. No, but that's where faith is. Faith is outside facts often. And so it's my believing this idea of that even in the unknown, there's always going to be an unknown in this experience, right? Until we know. And then once we know, right, we get to this new hill, everything changes, our view changes, and then there's more unknowns. Okay. I love watching Oak Island, the Mystery of Oak Island on the History Channel. Been watching it for like a decade now. And it's amazing because every time they find something, it's like a ooh-ah, right? You get to the top of the hill, and then it's like, well, wait, what does this mean? And you get more questions without answers. Okay. So I want to talk about the idea of resilience, being resilient, right? Because I believe that this is a vital aspect of being human and being well. So by definition, resiliency is the capacity to withstand or recover quickly from difficulties. In other words, we could say kind of how tough you are It's more of an ego-based way of doing it. And it's a process. It involves a few different interactions, meaning it involves our cognitive abilities, our emotional abilities, and our behavioral factors as well. And resilience is not just about bouncing back, seeing how tough we are. We get knocked down. I'm getting back up all the time from our challenges, our adversities, but also being uncomfortable. And resilience involves the ability to adapt, to cope, to learn, to overcome these challenges. So in essence, we're learning and transforming from the experience of the challenge. So how do we prepare for an unknown challenge or an unknown discomfort? And it's a great question, isn't it? So ponder that for a moment. How do we prepare for something that's, even if we know the discomfort, what we're trying to move into is unknown? Either way, we have this unknown. How do we prepare for it? And I'm going to suggest that we stick to the basics of science of mind. We contemplate it. We go within. We settle our mind as best as we can. And we pray affirmative prayer, meaning we ground in spirit first. We ground in it and recognize that it is all there is, including what's in front of me, including the unknown. That God is in all, expressing itself as all things, all life, everything that's known and unknown. It is the creator, the created, and the process of creating. It's all there is. And it's changing itself constantly. Why? So that I may get to know and understand it more personally. Now, I'm still knowing, I'm not saying it as in it's outside of me, but that it is all there is. And from this human experience, that I am that. I want to know that more deeply. I can know it up here, but I want to experience that in form, in action. So therefore, I remind myself everything is happening for me and through me. And I'm only going to get it, whatever it is, to the level that I'm open and feeling safe to receive. So therefore, I may get through the discomfort, or I would say the more I get through the discomfort, the more that I get to experience the greatness and depth of love that's already here. That's what Source is. Source is showering us with love constantly. Why? Because it is love. It's not showering it because it loves us. Yes, it loves us because it is. That's not it and us. It's one. And so when I ground in this truth, I kind of die to that, because it dies to me. That meaning the circumstance, the challenge. And of course, we end, I recognize in the prayer that as this is true for me, this is true for everyone. It must be. So this idea of practicing this, learning from this, and becoming resilient allows us really to get to the heart of the matter, which is love. It's always love, L-O-V-E, love. And if I practice enough to where it's an automatic, it's a habit. Now, we're not, again, talking about, my nose is, excuse me. Reverend Ray brought up a great point of we're really good at spiritually bypassing things, which means just saying, oh, it's all God, it's all good. Meanwhile, I'm miserable. So we're not going to do that. We're not doing that. We're going to recognize it as spirit. And then I'm not seeing it and believing it and feeling it, then I'm not fully aligned with it. That's where I need to work at. Open up to. More Ernest Holmes says, we can overcome the troubles and difficulties that we have allowed to enter our lives when we remember that love is that creating and sustaining presence within all. God loves, moves, gives, and exists in me. As I eliminate anger and resentment, the divine nature flows freely through me. And I will add that I have been working a lot on this idea of recognizing discomfort and moving through things. I shared that with you personally in person last time, and I'll get back to that later. And there's a lot of anger. It's the easiest thing to do. Here's this thing in front of me. But that doesn't, what we're doing then is giving our anger to the cause or to the problem, not cause. But our cause is the thinking of the problem. And so getting angry about it isn't going to change my thoughts and beliefs about it. I'm just anchoring in that issue and anchoring in the fear and the discomfort. So becoming more resilient looks like developing better adaptive or coping strategies that will help us then manage our stress of the situations, of the experiences. Strategies could include, with regards when we're talking about coping strategies, problem-solving skills, emotional regulation techniques like tapping. I won't get into that, but it's a very simple system I teach my students all the time. Seeking support is a skill. Recognize, not being stubborn as I'm going to do this all by myself. We're not all by ourselves. We're all one. Okay, we have support, and often just the practice of finding meaning in the experience will allow us to toughen up, become more resilient. So reminder, there we go, that we are only as strong as the word repertoire is coming to my mind. So we're only as strong as the repertoire of our thoughts that we habitually hold. And we are habitual. So something happens and we respond or we react, right? Da, 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 da. Those are the automated habitual thoughts that we're doing. What's beyond that? How can I change that? How can I stop the automatic, or at least slow that down? Like, it's one of the things that I'm proud of is I don't get angry as long as I used to. So therefore I can get to actually solve the problem and own it and grow from it quicker. So it does, being resilient does involve the capacity to acknowledge and challenge non-life affirming thoughts, negative thoughts. And in essence, what we're doing is really evolving our growth mindset. So we get to automatically know that I'm going to grow from this. I do believe that suffering is optional, as Reverend Ray said, but at the same time, we're not going to beat ourselves up when we find that, I'm not feeling well. Well, what'd you do to think that? Why are you attracting that? And all those kinds of thoughts. This is a human experience. Okay, we'll get to that point. In the moment I'm suffering, what can I do to get help, change, to get through it? And we're always creating, always by design, right? Meaning we're aware of it consciously, or by default, which is habitually. And generally, when we're talking about that way, we're talking about ways that are non-life affirming. So there's not 1 second of this life where we're not creating, which is why it is so important in the science of mind. What do we teach? To understand what we're thinking. What are we believing? Where is this energy going? Now, as a psychologist, let me try that again. I do have a degree in psychology, but as a counselor, there's a term that I want to share with you, and it's called cognitive dissonance. You can impress all your friends if you don't know what that is. And basically, it's the discomfort that a person will feel when their behavior doesn't match or align with their values or their beliefs, right? So it's a psychological phenomenon that will happen when a person is holding two contradictory beliefs at the same time. That is uncomfortable. That is part, if you remember a couple months back, I shared something called the terror barrier. This is that terror barrier showing up that I used to believe X. I know now Y, new thought. This is what I want to experience now. I have to move and shift to aligning that. And that's an uncomfortable. We're literally changing our thoughts and we're changing the hardwiring that's in our brain. And the uncomfortable is not to say, oh, you're doing this wrong. It's to let you know that we're making a major change here. Keep going, keep going, keep going. And then there you are, you're at Y. Y meaning the new experience that we want to have. So we have to know what we're thinking and believing. We have to know what our values are. When was the last time you stopped and really kind of thought about, what your values are? Where do you put your energy? What do you believe in? Or why are you here? What do you feel is true? What is true for you? What do you support? What are you against, if anything? And do you have a purpose? And if you have a purpose, are your behaviors and thoughts and beliefs aligned to support your own purpose? Ernest Holmes talks about us being eventually free from all discord. And if we want to be truly free from all discord, then we must prepare and be willing to ask these difficult questions. They take time. And as an anonymous quote says, I'm not going to tell you that's going to be easy, but I'm going to tell you it's going to be worth it. I use that one all the time with my students, right? And I remind myself that, like, okay, easy. What is ease? All right, well, this could be tough because change feels tough. But again, I'm going to affirm that it's happening. And on the other side of this is the feeling of freedom, of expansion, of evolution. So what is your purpose? And if you don't know, now's a good time to choose one. Just choose one and see how that feels. Neil Donald Walsh, the great author, among other things, speakers, he's an actor. I go back to this time and time again. He says, the purpose of life is to create yourself, capital S, anew, in the next grandest version of the greatest vision you ever held about who you are. So let me read that all at once, because I broke it up. The purpose of life is to create yourself anew in the next grandest version of the greatest vision you ever held about who you are. It is to announce and become, express and fulfill, experience, and know your true self. Boom. Try that one on as a purpose. Just to live life fully. That's the purpose. To continue to infinitely recreate ourselves anew. Some of it's going to be through life-affirming situations, and some of it's going to be through situations that we just want to get through. Okay. Science of mind acknowledges the power of positive emotions. Also, to build resiliency, right? We know that there's love, there's joy waiting for us now in fullness. And the more that we align with that joy, we are literally, when we're in joy, we are allowing all that we want to experience in. That is the law of attraction. It's not, I'm attracting good things or attracting bad things. No. We're either allowing in the good or we're just withholding it. We're resisting the good that we want. Okay. So positive emotions, feeling good is important, and we can work at that. And I'll be honest with you, I find lately, for some reason, it's hard for me to stay happy for a little bit. Think a happy thought. Okay, I'm doing this. And then because there's been a lot going on, I go into my to-do list. That's not helpful. So I have to become more resilient at staying focused. The last talk I gave in person, I mentioned the fact that my sponsor, Reverend Judy Morley, challenged me out of my comfort zone, and it still feels uncomfortable. I'm going to be honest with you. I felt that you were there with me. It was a great experience, but that doesn't solve anything, does it? And I want to make sure, because I'm not sure I shared this part with you. Other than the fear that's come up, immediately after I shared this conversation with her, with my wife, of course, because if we were just going to up and move to St. George without me having the job aligned yet, that's scary. Obviously, I need to have my family aligned. But what, again, came through was this feeling of freedom. Because my thoughts were, if I don't do this, this, and this, and I don't know how, there's the unknown, I'm going to line this and line that, and I'm playing God, and da. That didn't feel good. But all of a sudden, just going, you know what? I'm going to get to St. George finally. And I'm going to be a full-time minister finally. Oh, that feels good. Life-affirming feelings, ineffable feelings. That's what it's about. And now what I do is I go back to those feelings each and every time I start feeling fear, because I have been moving forward. I started selling things and clearing out the garage. Because why? Because I'm moving this summer. That's my thought. And I'm 100% committed to that. So it's about the feelings. All right. Ernest Holmes says this. He says, we may meet difficulties, uncertainties, and doubts, barriers, walling our passage, but we must not be discouraged when so confronted. We must climb over the rocks of unbelief, pass around the barriers of doubt, and plunge into the stream with faith. The stream will never widen. The barriers will gradually disappear. The stream will ever widen. The barriers will gradually disappear. Though we walk through the plains and valleys of indecision and doubt, the stream will carry us back to the ocean of our being. And what is that stream? That's a stream of consciousness. That's the ever-flowing infinite stream of spirit, of God, of love, of joy. So why get through this discomfort? Because all the goodies that we want are on the other side of our comfort zone. If we could experience them now, we could, but there's something blocking that good. That's the only reason why we're not experiencing whatever it is that we're trying to get to, whether it's health, relationships, wealth, etc. So in other words, the more we raise our vibration to those more often consistent feelings and emotions of positiveness, remember, positive equals attracting. I'm going to use the term here, negative, because it's opposite of positive, means we're resisting, right? And if we learn and become resilient and we're able to transform, then we no longer have to be or feel like we're victims, because that doesn't feel good to anybody. So again, discomfort's the least of it. It's what next? We're going to grow in our coping skills, the way we think, the way we feel. We're going to choose a direction in our lives. So like Spirit's like, this is what you want to experience. Yes, now I can help you. Okay. We have to know where we're going, right? This is us. It's our choice, divine choice. So I'm watching time, and I'm going to kind of recognize that I have a little bit of time left. So one of the things that I did this week was watch the Spiritual Living Conference. I watched it online. I didn't go. It happened in South Carolina. And I wanted to share simply that it was amazing, in essence. Every speaker was spot on, and everyone felt more unified as an organization. Because this has been an interesting time, and I'm not going to get into the whole history, even recent history of what's going on, but there's almost 300 centers now worldwide. They're not all full centers like this. Some are called teaching centers. Some are called teaching chapters because of the countries they're in. They're not allowed to call themselves X, Y, and Z. They can't even call themselves ministers in some places, even though they hold the title. It's just, but we're sharing this philosophy worldwide. And we had to get better. We had to grow. And when I mean that, we meaning the home office and how we see ourselves and how we're running things. And we took a big step in doing some healing and organizing because this is all happening for us, right? And what I want to share too is one of the things that I got out of the talk was that a shift from that now I'm talking about locally, but also nationally, that CSL and CSL St. George as a spiritual center, spiritual community, that we're doing this for you. And there was a talk about it saying, no, we're going to shift to, we're doing this with you and because of you. And that felt like what I was wanting to experience as a senior minister. Not that I'm somebody has to make the decisions. But why are we doing this? Not because of my vision, but because of our vision. Not because of what I want to experience, but because of what we want to experience. And as a leadership, we are growing. And we're doing this, again, not for you, but with you. And I want to share that as we grow, we're going to get a lot of things right the first time, and they're going to work perfectly. And of course, like all things, there's times where we are going to just be awesome and failing. And it's going to happen. And I'm going to ask you to join us in recognizing that we tried something and it didn't work, and to help us make it work. Because your feedback is important. Coming up, well, let me finish my other thought on that, is because I recognize this is a journey of us, and we're doing this together. I see us being transformed together because we are together. We're walking together. We're crying together. We're sharing together. And eventually, we're even going to pass from this earth and die together as a community. And we're going to love each other through the changes. And we're going to recognize that presence of Spirit of God in ourselves and in others and as a community. Right? So the macro, the small within the micro within the macro. So I'm going to ask you to join us to live life fully with us and through us as a community. That I see ourselves again. I see the vision of us singing together. I know we do that now, but I'm talking full time in our own center. I'm going to continue to put that thought out there, because thoughts are what create things. And see us singing together and playing together and having fun activities, movie nights, our own choir. We heard them in person. And we got a little tease for it. Let's do that full time. Let's invite others in. There was a great example shared through the conference of how there's a community. And the way you initially talked about it sounded like it was huge in numbers, and it's not. But they share their space with a local mosque, a group of Muslims, as well as a group of Judaism track. And they all share the same space at times, and they overlap parking lots, and they just work together for the same cause, and they meet together. I see us. We have an interfaith council in St. George, and I want to be a full-time part of what the essence of that is, being one with all. Now, if you want to join us, one of the things you could do is right now, we've been advertising a class, which is Prosperity Plus 2. And I have a short video for that, which was not ready for last time. So this is Mary Morrissey, and hopefully.
Hi, I'm Mary.
You know what? I just realized I'm going to have to figure out how to get that sound to work. Give me 1 second. Bill in the back, I'm going to have to stop sharing and reshare. I'm trying to do this again, because I did not click the magic button to share tab screen instead. Oh, they changed things. Share screen. I'm hoping I'm going to get this entire screen. Also share tab audio. Well, that should work then. Do that. All right. Now, Bill, can you pull that up, please? Let's see if it works this time.
Mary Morrissey.
And it's not. So I'm going to try one more thing, and then we'll pass on it. Digital output speakers. Right. So.
Author of 2 best-selling books.
And I'm assuming. All right. Well, it's getting late. So what she's going to tell you is you're going to have a great time. That she is inviting you to our class, which is happening. Here we go. Starting this coming Wednesday. We already have 13 students signed up. Look, this is a 10-week class, and we meet for about an hour and a half, although the first class is going to be 2 hours because we have to go through some things, rules and so forth, on how to do things. For $39, we're going to focus on living more prosperously. Now, it's not all about money. It's about living a freer, fuller, more expanded life in all ways. We're meeting online, so you could do it from wherever you are. It starts this Wednesday, and we meet consecutive Wednesdays for 10 weeks, except there is one break. We're going to meet 2 times and then have a skip once because I will be out of country. Oh, no, not a country, out of state. So what do you need to do to sign up? 1, just email your name, phone number, and the best email if it's not the one that you're emailing me from. 2, Reverend Joe at CSLSGeorge.org. O-R-G, not .com, not .net, .org. Join us. I know there's a lot of value. Oh, it's 10 weeks or whatever. And I get it, but I've been through it, and I've already been through the first week because I'm preparing, right? And it's fantastic. And there's a little bit of reading, but most of it is watching videos and hearing stories and sharing in that. So I welcome you, please, to join us in that. You have time still. If you have any questions, email me and I will get back to you. All right, we're going to end this on our affirmation, which, I'm going to breathe. I am free. I am resilient. I am experienced. Let me try that again. I am spirit expressing as joy in my life. This will help us become more resilient. Let's say this 100 times a day and see how our life changes, period. What are the other thoughts that this saying this is going to pull into our life experience? So let us simply affirm in prayer, knowing the truth that everything is already here to experience because it is all God. Everything. There's only one life happening. That is what we call God's life. And that life is my life now as I speak in the first person. But I know this for every point of individual consciousness. So therefore, we are resilient in recognizing and releasing the fears and the doubts and the discomfort. We bless them, but we recognize they're no longer needed because we know what we want to experience and we know it is available to us and through us. That I am open to experiencing my good with a capital G. And that's not being selfish because it's all good as I align with truth, with God, with principle. I align with love. I recognize that it is one infinite whole, the essence of which is changeless. And I get to experience that oneness, that whole, infinite ways. And we're each doing that from our own unique journey. I know that we're doing that through Centers for Spiritual Living St. George as a community, and that this community is growing perfectly, in perfect time, in a perfect accord, according to truth. That we're doing this through joy, in joy, and as joy. We support one another as we do the work within ourselves. And it is a joyous journey. And I am free because I know who I am, I know what I am, and I know how I serve, and so it is. Namaste.
Namaste. Thank you, Joe. I just wanted to say thank you so much for sharing that slide of Neil Donald Walsh, Announce, Become, and Express. I took a picture of it, and I'm going to hang it up somewhere so that I can look at it.
Great quote, yeah, to keep in our sight, in our consciousness.
It's wonderful. And then just one more thing about the prosperity class. I took the original one several years ago, Mary Morrissey, and it was fantastic. And I'm so looking forward to this one coming at the end of February. So I encourage everyone, it's going to be a wonderful experience to share that with all of us. So please.
It's new and improved. And one of the nicer things is a lot of our classes are 3 hours long, and this one is not made to be that way. And I love, what better way to learn than through storytelling, right? And listening, and directly from Mary. I mean, it's priceless.
Yeah, she's very joyful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So now we're going to bring up some announcements. Prayer request, you can see it there, prayer@stgeorge.org. Our practitioners are always here willing to pray with or for you. Join us on Zoom at noon. We'll continue this conversation. Our next in-person service is it March the 10th? March the 10th. And again, our Prosperity 2 class begins on the 28th. So please join us. There's more details in the newsletter and on the website. We bathe in the flow of abundant prosperity. Many ways that you can support us by giving with Zelle. You can see it there. Online, PayPal. There's a little QR code you can scan with your phone, or by mail. Whichever you choose to give, we greatly appreciate your support. upcoming Sundays, March the 3rd, it's a brand new baby day. I love that. And then on the 10th, up until now. So look forward to March and spring coming. So now Bill's going to pop us all up so that we can do our closing affirmation.
We're popping up.
I think that's us. So I invite you at home, please read aloud this affirmation. It makes this much more poignant and rich. Something wonderful is happening right now.
It is this thing called life.
Life is in my mind, life is in my body, life is in all that I do.
I am it, I embrace it, and I share it.
Just the way that it is.
And just the way that it is becoming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thank you. Sign up for class.
And
And be
join
there
us on Zoom. Join us on Zoom.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You got no time left. Get on now.